So recently, I got rather bored of first-person shooters. I mean, what even is there to play? The new Battlefield is garbage. The new Call of Duty has to get railed by skill-based matchmaking. New Battle Royales last about 30 seconds to 3 weeks on account of 99% of the market being held by Fortnite, Warzone and Apex Legends. Counter-Strike is too extreme. Valorant is too extreme but for Asian people. Anything Blizzard touches is either broken on release or just a glorified slot machine. The guys behind Splitgate just decided to drop the project. IronSight is dead because the devs only care about squeezing what little money they have out of an even tinier player base. And I'd have to actually be held at gunpoint to even think about downloading a MOBA. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a man on the absolute hellhole known as Twitch.tv. Hailing from the beautiful nation of Mexico, Brazil, Spain, Portugal. He was playing a small little indie game known as Shatterline, and upon scrolling through the Steam store page, it didn't look all that interesting. But then I saw the devs are selling it for the unbeatable price of $0. And who doesn't love free shit? After all, what's the harm in hopping on and playing a few games? Developed by FragLab, a studio based in Kiev, Ukraine, Shatterline is a fast-paced, hero-based first-person shooter, set on a dystopian planet Earth after it was ravaged by a barrage of comets and asteroids. You have the option of taking part in either PvE or PvP. For all intents and purposes, I'll start us off with the latter. In PvP, you take part in a variety of 66 game modes. As of right now, there's 4. The first one of these being Conquest, also known as the Call of Duty one. The second one is Escort, also known as the Overwatch one. The third one is Demolition, also known as the Counter-Strike one. And lastly, there's Team Deathmatch, also known as all of the above. Then there's also the weekly events. These can be both PvE and PvP, with PvE being time-limited missions, and PvP being special game modes like Mega Heads TDM, in which all characters have oversized heads, and Supercharged TDM, in which all characters gain their abilities and ultimate super fast. Each one of the game modes can be played on a variety of maps, which are ever changing due to some areas only being accessible after a character with an exosuit kicks open a door, or some places being too high to reach unless you're playing a character that's equipped with a grappling hook. Of course, when there's abilities, there's also agents, or heroes, or operators, or operatives in this case. The first one of these is Mongoose, a demolition expert who's got that dog in him. He's equipped with both frag and smoke grenades, recharges health faster than other operatives, and is able to both plant and defuse the bomb faster in demolition. His ultimate is the R40 Super Sling, a semi-automatic grenade launcher loaded with proximity-sensitive explosives. He's quite handy for crowd control, but his abilities are a little boring. Next up is Malva, a support whose abilities are throwing medkits and having a small little drone to aid her in battle. She can also revive fallen allies to full health instead of the usual 25%. Her ultimate is a healing station that you can throw down, whereupon you and your allies will regain health at an increased rate and receive 20% less incoming damage, which is quite handy in both Conquest and Escort. Our third operative is Strix, who comes equipped with an exosuit, which allows her to activate short bursts of increased speed, but also, and more importantly, kick down doors, allowing new avenues of approach for your teammates. She also has a wall grenade, which puts up a piece of temporary cover, and a crystalline grenade, which causes damage over time to anyone in range of the affected area. Her ultimate is the M556 Volcano, a high-speed 6-barrel machine gun capable of melting literally anything in your way. Next up is Kite, a marksman capable of using a climbing hook in order to reach higher places, meaning you won't have to rely as much on boxes to traverse around your surroundings. He comes with a mini wall grenade, which is basically just a Strix wall, but mini. He also comes with a throwable mine, a powerful remote explosive that you can use to be a real cunt with on the battlefield. His ultimate is a crystalline revolver, which shoots deadly blast of projectiles, instantly killing anyone that might be on the receiving end of them. These projectiles also leave a red energy in its path, dealing damage to anyone unfortunate enough to walk into it. Brisa is another marksman, once more equipped with a grappling hook, but also capable of turning invisible and throwing down a crystalline mine, which encases anyone that walks over it inside of a shell, dealing damage to them over time. Her ultimate is a crystalline rifle, which is extremely powerful if you're able to land your shots at least. Next up is Pill, the undeniable GOAT of Shatterline. This Australian mad lad is capable of reviving fallen allies to full health, but also use a small drone to do it for him. The drone can also revive himself, which he can use to catch new and unsuspecting players off guard. He also has a stasis field grenade, which freezes enemies in place. His ultimate, a crystalline shotgun that deals damage over time to enemies hit by it. Any projectiles you happen to miss while firing it also leave a little spot on the floor, damaging enemies that stand too close. Next up is Orbit, a quirky German scientist. He heals faster and plants bombs faster in demolition, much like Mongoose. His abilities are a spy drone, which spots and chases nearby enemies, as well as a swarm grenade, which releases a swarm of crystalline insects upon exploding. His ultimate is by far the hardest to actually make proper use of in combat, and I've seen plenty of teammates and enemies just completely fucking waste it more often than not. He shoots a dose of crystalline inside of him, causing a rapid growth of spikes to shoot out of him, killing anyone that stands too close, which is quite handy in game modes like Conquest to clear out the point, or Escort to break through choke points and give your team the upper hand. Lastly, there's Ram, a roided up gigachat that has an exosuit to kick down doors, but also to kick boxes really hard enough to kill enemies with him. His first ability is a gravity strike, which pushes enemies backwards. He's also the only character to only have one ability, on account of the second one being a throwing axe, and good fucking luck ever landing that thing. His ultimate is Hyper Dash, in which he uses his back-mounted jetpack in order to slam down into whatever area you can maneuver him into. Again, quite handy for Conquest. Each operative has their own XP bar and their progression tree to go along with it. Each new level ups your operative's abilities, like Pill's crystalline shotgun coming with more ammo, Malva's healing station action lasting longer, or Strix's machine gun having more ammo. But not every unlock is tied to just an ultimate. Some just increase the power of regular abilities, or just the character as a whole. More axes for Ram, more grenades for Mongoose, or just more primary ammo as a whole. It's honestly really cool to see the system they've managed to implement. It's even cooler to see that it fucking works. Nothing feels under or overpowered, with the game rewarding your time spent on a specific character by making them a little more valuable in teamfights, but not being able to fully turn the tide, unless you have an ultimate saved up of course, or you're playing against actual 5-year-olds. Each character is able to use whatever firearm you want to, not being locked to a specific set or type, as some other games would have you. The game currently has 25 weapons in it, split up into assault rifles, shotguns, submachine guns, sniper rifles, and pistols, with 5 of each respectively. They're also split up into 5 tiers, with each tier unlocking a new gun of each type. You unlock a new tier of weapons by earning weapon XP. Now this doesn't mean that tier 5 weapons are way better than tier 1 weapons. Not even close. The XM27 pacifier is one of the starting weapons, and it's still one I play quite frequently due to its high RPM and solid stability. Weapons can be customized in a variety of ways, attachments to increase your weapon's effectiveness, but also patches, stickers, trinkets, skins, and even a kill counter once you level a certain weapon to maximum. You can also unlock modifications of any given gun, which are crafted with blueprints. These are earned by completing challenges and going on expeditions. Once you earn enough of these, you can spend 300 of them to receive a random mod for any gun. This will usually give you a pretty cool looking skin, and also a buff to your weapon like increased accuracy or improved stability. You can even unlock a mod for a weapon that you haven't unlocked the base form of yet, meaning you can use it but not customize it yet. Alright, but that's enough yapping about multiplayer, let's talk co-op. The co-op aspect of the game is split up into 2 parts, missions and expeditions, with the former being shorter quests largely focusing on expanding the lore of the world, and expeditions being a roguelike type of mode where you start with a pistol and collect supply drops to up your power level. Speaking of lore, let's talk about it. In the near-ish future of 20, it isn't specified when, a large red comet crashes onto Earth. Inside of it is a form of red crystalline, which infects and turns anyone that comes into contact with it into crystalline creatures, which are the ones you face in the missions and expeditions. In expeditions, you are dropped into an impact zone. In it, you're tasked to complete a variety of objectives, like collecting soil data, or destroying important pieces of the crystalline hive mind. While doing this, you can scavenge and collect for different pieces of equipment, as well as abilities and perks. The longer you take, the harder the zone will become, as each new tier of contamination adds a new modifier to the zone, like enemies having higher health, more melee damage, or being chased around by a sentient orb that shoots lightning. That last one is a real hassle to deal with. After completing 3 regular objectives, you're tasked to go and eliminate the zone's boss, the Envoy, a big crystalline behemoth that packs quite the punch. Upon defeating it, you get your payout of blueprints and silver. But you can also extract after completing any number of objectives for an earlier but lower payout. If you die, all your rewards are halved, punishing you for messing up, but not leaving you completely empty-handed. Also, character and weapon XP is cross-game mode, meaning whatever progress you make with a weapon in PvE, you'll be able to use your unlocked attachments in PvP. And vice versa, which is quite handy if some gun really isn't doing it for you. Farming some XP in an expedition might just give you whatever tool you need to succeed in PvP. Overall, Shatterline is kinda great, but despite this, its player base has been in a downward trend because that's just kinda what happens with free-to-play games on Steam these days. Unless you're IronSight. That game's been on 700 players for half a fucking decade at this point. And despite only wanting to hop in and play it for a few hours, I've already spent over 30 in it, bought the battle pass and shilled it to a couple of friends. So, if you've got the time and own a computer, give it a spin and who knows, you might find one of your new favorite games. Hey, thanks so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you enjoyed, leave a like, a comment and subscribe, as I have 200 videos scheduled for release between now and the inevitable heat death of the universe. You know what, I think I'm done adding more ideas to my Excel spreadsheet. I'll either be an old man or have quit YouTube by the time I'm done with these. Sorry for the lack of uploads these last few months. I've been a little sad recently, in a slump if you will, down in the dumps as they say. But it is what it is, we ball. Dead Rising 2 should be the next game review / retrospective / whatchamacallit. As always, I wish you all the best. I've been Zaniverse. Till next time.